I have a very special guest on the phone, Gavin Pring, who is a part of the Fab Four, the ultimate tribute. Now, what are you the ultimate tribute of, Gavin?
We're the ultimate tribute to the Beatles.
See, it sounds so much better when you say it than when I say it. It's the beauty of your accent, which you're not faking it. You're from Liverpool, right?
Yeah, that's right, Crash. I was brought up, or as we used to say in England, dragged up. I was dragged up in Liverpool, and it was just out Crosby. So it's L23, so it's the Liverpool district. Some locals would say I'm not really from Liverpool because I'm not from L1, but as far as American terms, I'm like 3 minutes away from the city.
Very good. Which dragged up in American terms, it means something completely different. You know that, right?
Yep.
Speaking of that, you guys go through quite a few costume changes during the show. I mean, how many costume changes do you guys do when because you go from early Beatles on through like the entire era?
Yeah, I mean, if it was up to me, I would do like from the Beatles in diapers all the way to the nursing home, but that show would be like 60 years long, so they wouldn't let me do it. So what we do is in America, the history of the Beatles starts on the Ed Sullivan Show. So it started on, was it 9th of February 1964? So that's where we start with this American tribute act called the Fab Four. We start in 1964, and then we go through to Shea Stadium, 65. Then we do 66, 67 songs for Sgt. Pepper. And then we do what we call the later years, or the breakup years, which is about 68 to 69. So that encompasses Abbey Road and Let It Be.
That covers definitely a wide array of Beatles music, which is awesome. You guys have won Grammys for this, right?
Yeah, we didn't win. We won an Emmy. So we were nominated for a Grammy, but I mean...
Okay, I got it backward.
It's not our music, so I wouldn't know how we would have won a Grammy.
That's true.
Anyway, I was quite surprised we won an Emmy, to be honest with you. But we did for our 2012 production of the Fab Four in Temecula at a place called Pachanga. And audiences loved that show, and it's been shown on PBS for the last 12 years.
Well, what's better than a PBS show is seeing you guys live this Saturday night at the Mobile Sanger Theater. Which, have you guys ever been down to Mobile, Alabama yet?
Yeah. Listen, first of all, I have arguments with the guys whenever the word comes up, and I would say mobile. That's how I would say it. But when I got down there, the locals were like, oh, it's Mobile. So I was like, okay, Mobile. And the first time I went there was about 10, 11 years ago, and I was walking around. All the houses looked like something out of Interview with a Vampire. They had a very kind of like New Orleans kind of traditional southern look about them, and I loved them. And then I went into a cafe, and I said, what do the locals eat? And so the guy said, oh, we have this Cajun catfish sandwich like. And I said, okay, cool. I'll be honest with you, Crash, it nearly blew me bloody head off. It was the hottest thing I've ever had in my life. Do you know what I mean? But the good thing is, I go to that cafe every year that I've been since. It's kind of like I go back to see if it's as tasty as I remember, and it usually is. Mobile
is the original home of Mardi Gras. Nobody's told you that in all this time.
No, they did. They told us. I mean, the funny thing was, I went there, and it's kind of like if you say to a Canadian, "Are you American?" They go, "No, I'm Canadian." They get all bent out of shape. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like that with. I thought I was stepping on someone's toes because I said, "Oh, it's kind of like a Mardi Gras, like New Orleans look," and they were like, "Oh no, this is where it started." And then I did a little history on it, and they were absolutely right.
Yeah.
The Mardi Gras started in Mobile, Alabama, and then New Orleans took the fame for it. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, Mobile.
Well, we don't get as crazy.
You'd want to go to a place that was kind of like, when you as you get older. I always had this idea of going to like New York on like New Year's, and then I went. And it was absolutely terrible because it was just packed and you couldn't go anywhere to go to the toilet. And so in my mind, it was always like better than what it was in real life. And as I get older, I think I'd probably want more of a scaled down kind of like traditional kind of Mardi Gras rather than everyone go nuts and peeing in the streets and stuff. I've heard the Mobile ones are a lot better. So I'm going to have to, what date is Mardi Gras?
I did not say that people won't pee in the streets.
I mean, peeing in the streets, So they can't find toilets. They just go.
Yes, come back during Mardi Gras lasts a whole month. Come do a ball, a parade. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I'm coming down then.
I mean, it's not just Fat Tuesday, man. It lasts a whole month, and we party for the entire month. But here, we're not here to talk about Mardi Gras, though. We are here to talk about your show, which, we probably ought to bring it back to that, or else, your public relations team is going to be yelling at me in about 10 minutes. They're like, hey, why are you talking about Mardi Gras? We're supposed to be talking about this show Saturday night. And so really, anybody who hasn't seen the Fab Four, just, I don't give them a picture of what this is like.
So basically, what it's like is if you saw the Beatles, it'll be a good kind of reminder of how great the music was live. I know some people who were alive probably couldn't hear the Beatles that much, but we have modern technology now where we can kind of like listen to each other, and the crowds don't scream as much as they used to. But if you did see the Beatles, or you remember the Beatles and you grew up with them, it'll bring back a lot of memories for you. And for people who have never seen the Beatles, come and see us, because then you'll know what everyone else has been talking about for all these years. It's just great music, great harmonies, and a great time is guaranteed for all.
And how did you get into being George Harrison's role in the Fab Four?
It was when I did original stuff in England. I used to play around like where the original Gavin club was and stuff like that. I used to play all over Liverpool and on the Wirral, which is just across the water. And every review I had just said, this quartet is from Liverpool, but you'd swear that the lead guitarist Gavin is a direct descendant of George Harrison. And so I heard that quite a lot. And then and I thought George wasn't that good looking either. I was like, I look like him. No chance. Couldn't I look like John or Paul?
At least you didn't get compared to Ringo.
That would have been sacrilege. Ringo, we were talking about Ringo. Ringo was kind of like, he had very odd features. He was tiny, he had big lips and a big nose, but it kind of suited him. It made him very like, if you ask people generally in the streets, name a Beatle, the first name is usually Ringo. We'll say, Ringo Starr.
The name stands out. There's not too many other Ringos in rock and roll.
There isn't. There's just there's one Ringo, and I think another Ringo in a movie, and I think that was the only two Ringos in history that I can think of.
True, but if you say John, Paul, George, everybody knows who you're talking about.
Yeah, actually, George is the least. If I ask people on airplanes and stuff, I'll be like, "Oh, playing a Beatles tribute." They'll be like, "Are you John?" I'm like, "No." "Are you Paul?" "No." "Are you Ringo?" I'm like, "No." And they'll say, "The other one."
What?
Yes,
wow.
The other one, the one no one can name.
I just always thought George was the most underrated talent in the entire band, personally.
Well, that's what happens. The funny thing is, I'll say, George, and they'll go, "I don't really know many songs by George." And I would say, "Well, I'll sing 5 for you." And I'll go, "Here Comes the Sun." And they go, "Oh, I know that one." I go, "Something in the Way She Moves." And they go, "Oh, yeah, I know that one." "I Got My Mind Set on You." I know that one. "And My Sweet Lord." And they go, "I know that one." It's like, so you don't know him. You don't know any of his stuff, but you know every song that I sing. So it's just, he's just the dark horse, just the guy that really started writing songs after. Yeah, I think what happened was he couldn't get that many songs on the Beatles records because he was in a band with John and Paul. So it's hard to get those songs on. But then once they split up, he just went, "No one can tell me no." So then he just had albums of just his own songs, and he was great. George had the first solo success out of all of the Beatles. His album, All Things Was Past, was the biggest selling first solo album of any of the Beatles.
I do have the one question, since you've been touring all over the world and a lot in America. Is it soccer or football?
It's football. And I heard that the Americans call football because of the length of the ball is a foot. So that's why it was like a football. Obviously we use our feet, so that's why we call it football.
Who are we rooting for in the World Cup right now?
I became an American in 2019, so I've got 2 chips in the stake this time. I've got America because I'm an American. I've got England because I'm an Englishman. So I think England will get further than America, but I don't think we'll win. What am I saying? Yeah, of course we're going to win. England and America should be in the final. That would be awesome.
See, this is the answer we're looking for. All right. Well, Gavin, I know you probably have a game to get back to watching. So I will let you go. But yes, definitely looking forward to Saturday night, Mobile Sanger Theater, the Fab Four, the ultimate tribute. Tickets on sale. We've got all the info on our website, 961therocket.com. Gavin, I'm looking forward to seeing you Saturday.
I'm looking forward to seeing you, Crash, mate. It's going to be awesome.